It's the annual Fellow Mobile Suit Show. We veterans of the one you war gather our old mobile suits and we share the stories, we teach the youngins, and we just have a good time. This boy right here is the RGM-79 Jim. I deployed in it at Jabro. We was assigned to protect the southwestern quadrants from the Zeeks. Remember in battle, I managed to shoot down 3 of them teddy bears and 7 of them Z-Goks. Didn't get hit or nothing either. The beauty of the gym lies in its simple frame. You can modify whatever you want it. Low atmo, high atmo, cold, hot, underwater, colony, and space. Yes, sir. Here's my buddy Derek. Tell us about your shoot, Derek. This right here is the RX-75 gun tank mass production type. It has minimum weight of 56 metric tons, power output of 878 kilowatts, and is equipped with a pair of 120mm low recoil cannons and a pair of 40mm 4-barrel bot missile launchers. I deployed it in heavy artillery base assault ops in Southeast Asia. Though it may not go as fast as other mobile suits, no suit can hit a base from 200 kilometers like this one can. Yes, sir. Each year we do this show, a big star is Jober's Fed Guy. Tell us about the Fed Guy, Jober. This suit, originally built by the Zeeks, is a modified MSM-04 AT guy. During an attack on Jabro, my squadron of GMs surrounded and captured this AT guard with minimal damage. We equipped it with experimental artillery and I was designated to be its pilot. During the final land ops of the war, I snuck straight to the Zeke's main California base, destroyed their HQ and comm facilities, and jerried right out of there. Because of the Fed Guy right here, the entire Federation was able to retake the entire West Coast. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Gotta love that clip.
It was good.
Oh, I got that backwards. You know, maybe I should probably plan these things out a bit more in advance, but we are doing it live, folks. Hello, one and all, and it's Monday. You know, we had a good weekend, and not only that, this is basically a holiday week, prolonged holiday week, because we are going into Christmas. So, with all that said, let's get into the swing of things here. Hello, one and all, to the Mechpit chat, where we are here to kind of get you going good for a Monday. The weekend is come and gone, and there's no reason why you have to let that energy go behind you. And so I figured let's start things off on a good note. So, folks, today I have with me Dash Attack, who's here to hit. We'll talk a little bit about the Sonic movie, and we'll get into a little bit of holiday stuff. But how are you doing, Dash?
Oh, I'm doing good. Just getting ready for Christmas.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Yeah. So I did see the movie with another YouTuber and my cousin. We had a really good time. I did have I was a little nitpicky on some of the lore changes, but overall I think I love the performances, and I think they did Keanu did Shadow good, and so I was happy.
I guess we should. Since we're going to go ahead and start into it.
Oh yeah, I won't get too into it, but just telling you, that's mostly the movie was a big part of my week. I had it all planned out in advance. So so mostly that. I've just I got never mind. It's
it's not Sonic related.
No, yeah, well, I just don't want to but I finally got to 4,000 watch hours, so I got full monetization now.
Whoa, that's awesome! Congratulations, my friend.
Thank you.
And I see you were going all week and getting into the Sonic mood. You were playing a bunch of playing Sonic Adventure 2.
Yeah, I was playing Sonic Adventure 2. I beat the remaster of Colors for the first time. And I went and finished my playthrough of the Black Knight that I had started and just kind of abandoned towards the final boss. So I finished that up.
It's Sonic is one of these interesting franchises because the lore has been so chaotic and so many mediums that there's almost no one true canon, because you got to figure we have the games, which have had multiple different continuities to those. We've had the comics, which have had to have a reset because of Ken Penders was able to finagle a bunch of his own legal protection over characters he created. We've got multiple animated series that have come and gone. It's one of these fascinating things that have come about.
Yeah, there's a lot. I never really kept up with much of the comics. Kind of like regular comics. Like, it's just a lot. I did try and get into some of the IDW stuff because I know it's good. I have some of the omnibuses, but like, there are like so many issues in now, and like they seem to be like just doing their own thing, kind of like they've built their own like little size slice of the fandom. So like, the games have always been like where I get my Sonic.
Yeah, and I guess at the end of the day, the video games are essentially like the definitive version of Sonic that really needs to be adhered to, because the comics are their own thing; they're their own beast. They've had a lot of crazy stuff come and gone. We've certainly had a number of games that have been plenty crazy, like Sonic 06 and Sonic getting a human girlfriend there, for example. He turned into a were-hedgehog.
Yes. He went into space. He fought King Arthur. He's done a lot of crazy shit. That's Sonic.
Well, since we kind of touched on the IDW there, and I'll bring this up on screen here. There is currently an IDW Humble Bundle available that has a whole lot of the IDW comics available.
Oh.
So let me. There we go. Yeah, we can show this.
The comic collection.
And I think since 2018, 2019 roughly was when IDW took over, and it's effectively been it's all its own continuity.
It's been practically keeping IDW afloat.
Yep, between this and Star Trek, because they lost Transformers, they lost a lot of the Hasbro licenses.
Damn.
And I will say, the Transformers comics that IDW was putting out back in the day, which is weird to say about 5 years ago, there was some good stuff in there. I cannot praise books like All Hail Megatron enough. There was stuff like The Last Stand of the Wreckers. There were some great Transformers books in there that are worth reading, in addition to as well the current ongoing stuff from Skybound, which
I heard they went like a bit crazy with identity politics, like towards like the end of their run.
Yeah, basically like the last 2 years of that kind of became unwatchable. It became kind of unreadable because it was also like all sort of wrapping up. But basically, for the first let's see, it was for 2005. I think it was when roughly they got it. Basically, for the first about decade of comics, it was all superb stuff. And in fact, even some of the later stuff is still pretty good. More Than Meets the Eye and Robots in Disguise were sort of these two concurrently going comics. The property was strong enough to be able to warrant two simultaneous books going. But I mean, that is getting to the IDW Transformers era. This is the current ongoing Humble Bundle stuff, which we have multiple volumes currently available. All this for like $13.
Oh, these are the omnibuses, right?
Right. Well, I don't know if these are the omnibuses, but these would be your basically your like 5 or 6 issue collections.
Ah, I see. Yeah.
Volume 5, 6, 7, 8 volumes of that, plus a couple of additional little things. So yeah, for $13 for basically the cost of like getting like a your McDonald's combo. You can get a weekend's worth of comics out of it.
And how long does this sale go for?
This is going for the next 2 weeks, 16 days.
Okay, time if I decide I want to do that. Oh, nice! They got the Tornado 2 mech right there. Oh yeah.
One of the things you will notice is, I guess, especially because of the whole Archie Comics debacle with Sonic. They've gone away from a lot of those kind of comic oriented characters like Antoine or Princess Sally, and they are just going more strictly for the video game characters. So you're seeing less and less of the original characters. I mean, certain characters kind of survive, like Cream the Rabbit.
Well, I heard Ian Flynn was kind of just like really using like his own characters like Surge a lot, just because of the Sega mandates on how characters can be portrayed since the Penders lawsuit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, So, like, Flynn has a little more creative freedom on his own characters than he does, like.
Okay, because my understanding was that it was essentially like it was they didn't do like he didn't get a work for hire agreement with Ken, so he was able to maintain ownership of certain characters.
Yeah, well, he's created some of his like own characters in the IDW continuity.
But real quick, let me go ahead and bring the long flipper of the law on in here. We have Punkwaddle with us. How we doing?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Long time no talk.
I know. You know, this guy has really cool. Well, all these hedgehog has really cool spiked hair that inspired me as a kid. I just can't run that fast.
You just kind of fall on your side and you roll really fast, so it's all right. You make it work.
Yeah, I'm more of a torpedo downhill.
But yeah, no. So Dash, I know saw Sonic. Punkwaddle, did you get a chance to see it this weekend or not?
I have not had a chance to. I don't know if I will see it in theater, but I'm tempted to just because I caught the other two. I caught Sonic 1 a little ways after it came out. Sonic 2 I caught pretty well when it was released on streaming, and yeah, I've got a lot of. I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
So I was able to catch it yesterday, and I will say, and I guess we'll try to keep things a bit spoiler light.
I will try.
It's a little hard to, but like I get it. It's a little hard to because this is, I would say, this is probably like the top movie I was looking forward to this year.
Oh, absolutely!
Okay.
This was like my movie to look forward to this year. That, and I was looking forward to Joker 2 before word of mouth got out.
Mm.
So Joker 2 was a movie where I really felt like it was a story they didn't need to do, and if anything, they probably should have instead gone for other characters. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like I was saying, they should have done like a movie about the ventriloquist. I think that would have been cool to see, like Scarface.
Ooh, you hear Gunn wants to do a Clayface movie?
I heard about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, Clayface is like one of my favorite Batman villains.
He's one I feel like you just don't really get enough.
You don't.
Enough,
he is kind of like, but like he had like some of the best episodes in the animated series.
Mm-hmm.
And right around when they were doing Rebirth in the comics, it was pretty cool because Clayface became sort of part of the Bat team. So Clayface was fighting alongside Batman and and the Robin and Batwoman, and we had this cool little
hero arc.
Yeah, exactly. It was this neat little chance to see one of your villains in the more heroic role, even though long term he's going to go back to being a villain at some point, but you could still kind of enjoy it for the time being. It's kind of like when I think Sandman was an Avenger for a brief stint in the comics.
Yeah. I was thinking Sandman was in Spider-Man 3, which was its own debacle, or was that 2? But but the fact that Sandman was in the Spider-Man live-action movie and what they did with them, and that they could easily do Clayface, of course, the way CG was, back then versus what it is now, where it look as good. Who knows? But I hear what you're saying.
I mean, and you think about it because there's a lot you could do there. There's a lot you can lean into with sort of the actor stint with him, where it's just this sense of losing himself in the roles he plays, trying to keep this up, try to lean into a little bit of that Man of 1,000 Faces sort of idea, and then kind of you pit that up against like all the CG and AI that are coming into the filmmaking process. There's a lot you could do.
Yeah.
There to kind of like break his psyche.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that aside, of course, we were talking about Sonic originally. Funny how these little tangents can come along. I will say, kind of, as far as negatives go with the film, I wasn't as keen on Jim Carrey this time around. I thought he had a better performance in Sonic 2 than Sonic 3.
I kind of like I agree and disagree at the same time. I do think they overdid it at parts, especially with like making Gerald Robotnik goofier than he is in the games. But I did like some of the antics that they pulled off, like the son and grandfather bonding, if you will.
Yeah, and you see this, you saw a bit of that through the marketing, where they were able to kind of lean into like, oh, we are able to get to work in just like a little bit of like Christmas, which is perfect marketing for right now. We can kind of like, suggest like, oh, Sonic 3 is a Christmas movie.
Yeah, that was a bit deceptive, like with that Christmas scene. I figured it was like something that would happen at the end of the movie or something.
Well, I was convinced it was something they had done solely for the sake of marketing for this time of year. Kind of like when they did the little quote unquote stop motion Chris animated thing for a commercial.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if you guys saw that or not.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I did. Where the Sonic Saves Christmas. Yes,
yeah, that's
I
the
saw
one.
that. And then Shadow just steals the sleigh.
oh God! And then there's a lot I really did enjoy with this film. Knuckles is doing great as Knuckles in the film.
Oh yeah, Idris like knocks it out. He's becoming like one of my favorite like characters in the movie, like space. Like he was they do really good work with Knuckles. Like, have you seen the Paramount show?
I caught the first couple episodes of it.
I
need to go back to finish,
it wasn't the best. Like, they did have a lot of like the it had kind of like, it's the same problem the Godzilla movies have, where they CGI characters are competing with the humans. But it's overall like a good watch, especially on a binge.
And plus, they didn't tie up too much of the film with a need to go back and watch that show. Like,
exactly, there were references. There were like tiny references, like in Knuckles to Sonic 3 and in 3 to Knuckles, but they didn't tie it like WandaVision and Doctor Strange.
Which was one of the biggest mistakes they could have made with those shows.
Oh yeah, that was a huge mistake.
Yeah. That year and a half of all of those Marvel shows and how they that was awful. Anyway,
they sort of had this expectation that people were going to turn around and automatically going to follow those because they they have to pay attention to what's all going on. It's like, yeah, not really. Like, people didn't follow over like you thought they were going to.
Well, when they filmed they said you had to watch Captain Marvel, but it was filmed out of order, so they couldn't. It had no ability to have continuity. It was just like, oh, cool, thanks, guys. So, yeah, it's like The Boy Who Cries Wolf. Enough times that people just, there's no credibility and there's no. It's a fatigue of not just what they're producing. It's a fatigue of who's making it and how they're presenting it, and the whole thing of like advertising. Like Sonic did a really, really good of advertising. So, I mean, I didn't really. Okay, so I was a Nintendo guy, so I played a little bit of Sonic. I know Sonic's been one of the classic characters, and him and Mario have been sort of iconic. Iconic icons. Okay.
Yeah, rivals.
I need a thesaurus. But they've been staples of the gaming. They've just been in pop culture lore for decades, for eons, if you will, for generations. And so, when, pre-movie, the whole thing of they released a really creepy looking Sonic and all the fans said, no, this is awful. And they said, okay, yeah, you're right. We're going to give you something that you want. And they've continually knocked it out of the park. And they're building a franchise where you have Sonic and then the people. And now by the third movie, you're world building into all the other Sonic characters and all the really cool voice actors that want to be a part of it, are able to be a part of it. And they're building out the franchise the correct way, right? And you're allowing Jim Carrey to be Jim Carrey in a way we haven't seen in over a decade, right? Either. So like, there's all this stuff that it's hitting a lot of notes for a lot of people, but it's also not doing the whole thing. I don't know. I know people don't watch all my videos, but I was talking about how Red One when I did watch that just because I was bored last week. But that movie it took all this member berry idea and like it's not a kids movie. It's a kids movie made for adults, for kids who were born in the 90s, who get all this nostalgia, that get all these things and all these pop culture reference and these things that for the last 20 years and understand how to kind of catch them on a dime. But the Sonic movie, this is actually for kids and families. It's
it works in a good way to sort of bridge that gap, because you got to figure Sonic as a character has been around since 93 or maybe 92. And so you have a lot of parents now that are taking their kids to see this film that themselves grew up playing Sonic back in their youth. And so they've got two things to attach to as parents. One, well, three things. One, the kids want to see it.
Yeah.
Two is the fact that Sonic's a character they grew up with. So for a lot of parents, there's probably be some connection to these characters that they themselves are, reminiscing about. And then you also have Jim Carrey there to carry a lot of the film for them. So to where they remember like Ace Ventura and Liar Liar and
even Lemony Snicket's, which was more of a kids movie.
Yeah, like he goes full Count Olaf in this movie. Like,
well, even with the previews, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like, if you watch that or some of his actor, his kind of character development videos in the bonus features, like he's just kind of going off in that way that we haven't seen. And like you said, it's the franchise doing it right. You're building it on the building blocks of the parents who want to share the way that people wanted to share Star Wars with the next generation. And I'm sorry to bring that one up, but there's all these things of like, they're like the Transformer movie that did okay, but it wasn't enough to draw people in because of the iffiness that the Transformers have been through with Michael Bay. And
it was a shame because it was actually like the first Transformers movie I really, really enjoyed.
But
I've heard so much good stuff about it, but I either time or trust, I haven't gotten to there yet.
And
yeah, I got there for the Shadow poster, but that's how they enticed people. It didn't work, obviously.
Yeah,
they even had Keanu sign like a couple of the posters, and like one lucky person could possibly get it, but that didn't work, obviously. So who knows what happened to that Keanu signed poster?
So I guess let's to get back to this movie then. Come on, like there's the big draw of Keanu Reeves is great as Shadow.
Oh, he is fantastic as Shadow. Like everyone thought he would be good in fans, but like seeing him in a full movie, he's got to be like one of the best people to ever play Shadow. I think maybe Jason Griffin is possibly like my favorite Shadow.
Well, I guess there was a rumor for a while there that Hayden Christensen was going to be voicing Shadow.
Yeah, he was the names floating. I personally wanted Christian Bale, but that would have been a tall ask. He's a little too prestigious for this. Whereas Keanu, I think he's just like completely on board. Like, yeah, I'll play Shadow.
Which I really enjoyed his character in the movie. And I think they were smart to kind of limit the amount of time we did see Shadow, because he showed up as a total badass, and we don't want to overuse him for the film, because I think he's a character that he works really well in sort of these small doses that we did get to see him in.
Yeah, otherwise, like it's
he's
Sonic
a force
movie.
of nature.
I mean, so like we knew Sonic and Shadow would like they always even in the games are kind of competing for screen time, because you have people who like myself who kind of like Shadow more than Sonic, and so like you have like leave like we can give Shadow his own thing like later, like there's still holes in his like with this new lore like to fill. And I have some theories myself, but I won't like spoil.
Yeah, we gotta be a little kind to those that haven't seen it yet.
Yes.
I guess we can say, long story short, this movie is a recommendation.
Yes, it is. It is good. Like, I liked it almost as much as the second one. Some people are saying it's even better than the second one, but there is definitely, like, they did try to make so much of what made Sonic Adventure 2, like, they tried to add all the, like, key points. Like, there were some that didn't make the cut, but they added, like, the things they did add. It meant something. Yes,
Dash the
Dash the
Edgelord.
Edgelord.
Of course. And there is a good little story arc there where you get to see where you're getting to see how Shadow became how he is, and also by the end of the movie, you're starting to see where Sonic could have potentially gone a similar route.
Yeah, I actually liked that angle. That was an angle that wasn't explored in any of the games. So they did kind of like try and like tie Sonic to Shadow a little bit more. And I think it was good, like seeing like if it's kind of like a Naruto thing, like like the bunch of characters in Naruto are just parallels of what Naruto could have been, directions he could have taken, and like they kind of did that with Sonic and Shadow in this one.
Well, like I said, I haven't seen this one, but I think, and I'm not big on the Flash comics, but I know that the Flash one that went to CW was Speedster and Speed Force and more speedy people, and like you got tired of it. But the thing about Sonic so far with 2 and everything else I've heard about 3 is they all have their unique place, their unique personality, and they're not just getting overused as like they are copies of Sonic in a way, but they're still their own entity and their own style, and I don't know, it seems to work a lot better.
Well, one of the best parts of the Sonic franchise is that a lot of these characters have been like underused, and they have their own personality. You see them in like the cutscenes, like they are their own characters. They have their own abilities and powers and personalities.
Real quick, speaking of personalities, I have another personality to bring on real quick. So, guys, please be so kind as to welcome on the Anime Night as he. As I want to make sure to also thank you, my friend, for the games you provided me on Steam for Christmas.
Oh yeah, me too. Thank you.
Awesome.
You're both very welcome. It's Christmas, so why not?
Well, I guess bringing you into the conversation here, did you get a chance to see Sonic yet?
Yes, I have. I saw it Thursday night.
Nice. What did you think?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
So, I'm not gonna lie. I was like grinning wide, ear to ear, seeing little moments like a lot of this that we saw in the trailers, like Shadow with the motorcycle, kicking the gun up, catching like, yeah,
It's my banner.
I had to kind of stop and kind of quiet myself because like there's still kids in the theater, but I'm still like having my little moment here. I'm like, oh yes, I'm so glad I'm kind of here by myself.
Even when you see it in the trailer, seeing it in the movie, it's just and then when the actual chase starts, oh my!
They give us the Akira slide because of course they do.
Yeah.
And yeah, because apparently the director producer were playing through Sonic Adventure 2 and Shadow the Hedgehog, so we get a lot of moments from those games in this movie, from those games in this movie. So it's just so many little callbacks to that. It's just you're sitting up just loving it. Like little moments like there's that little bit at the start of the movie where Maria is playing the guitar, and if you listen closely, you're like, that's Live and Learn she's playing. That's the theme song from Sonic 2. We're like, I sat up in the theater like, wait a minute. I did the meme.
Yeah, and there's also I'm going to spoil this one little bit, not too important, but there's a part where they go into like an abandoned gun base, and Knuckles is very worried about specters. And that's a direct reference to all the ghosts he had to fight in Sonic Adventure 2.
Okay.
Like I was waiting for the Pumpkin Hill theme to start kicking in.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. All things considered, this is a movie that I think is pretty strong. I'm probably gonna give it about a solid 3.5 stars. I think it's well worth your time. It's not high cinema by any means, but it's one that you'll be happy to see, especially if you're a fan going back to the 90s. And if you do want something a little more as a bit of a drawback to that era, then there's one series I would recommend you check out. Oh, what is this? Oh, there we go. And this was an anime that aired about a decade ago. Come on, there we go. Called World War Blue. That was sort of a retelling of the '90s console war in anime form.
Oh yeah. Yep. I think I've seen some of this.
3 episodes OVA. It's one I remember was kind of being talked about at the time, but it's just something that just kind of came to mind. I've sort of remembered, and people say it's about a 6 out of 10. So maybe not the best, but you never know. It might be kind of a fun little throwback. Just kind of start remembering, some of the characters. Like there's a Samus stand-in, there's a Link stand-in. We're starting to get. Of course, our main character is basically Sonic. And yeah, that was something that just kind of came to mind. I wanted to stop and show off. But all of that said, like I said, what do you guys think? Dash, what did you give the movie?
I gave it an 8 out of 10.
Ooh.
Okay, but the same ballpark. Mine would equate to about a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh no.
AK Anime Night. What'd you give it?
I would give it 8 swords out of 10.
My man.
And I got this.
Oh, you got one of those.
I got this at the theater.
Yeah, they didn't give it out at mine, but I did get the collectible popcorn tin and drink with a little Sonic standee.
Mine had some of the collectibles. In fact, they had the poster. I just didn't think to grab it at the time. I should have.
It should still be there. I mean, it's still early.
Well, I mean, I have the big Transformers 1 shadow poster, so I'm good on posters for the movie.
But in essence, though, when I went Thursday night, I'm gonna say the top back row where I was sitting at, almost to the behind the handicap spot, was completely full.
Where do you guys like to sit normally in the theater? Because that's always kind of a fun little conversation. Some people like to have that like optimal middle spot. I myself have a tendency to find that little spot just behind the handicap spot because I can put my feet up.
Yeah, I like to get a little like forward, like like never like really up front, but like kind of like in the middle back.
I'm like that too, because I like the back row, because at least I don't have anybody kicking their chair at me or throwing popcorn at my head or God knows what. So I was in the very top row in the middle section.
What about you, Punkwaddle? Where's your favorite spot to sit?
Well, my favorite spot when I'm not, especially when it's more vacant and I know people aren't going to kick my seat and throw stuff at me. I like about from the screen about 2/3 back. So you're kind of on the uprise. The sound is directed very well at you. If you sit a little in the center section, a little bit off center, you're going to get a good bit. I will sit in the back row sometimes, but the sound isn't exactly fully aimed right at you, so you're not going to get that all-encompassing experience. It just depends on how busy the theater is and how psyched I am about seeing this movie in this experience, right? And it's been I haven't been to too many movies. Like this year I went to Deadpool and Borderlands, and before that I think it had been Free Guy a few years ago. So
it's been a couple of years for you.
Yeah, and then the unfortunate truth is that when AMC, we talked about this, bought up all those local smaller theaters. Well, then here's the thing. At least they gave our local theater some life because they just shut down last month. And so now I have to go 20, 30 minutes or an hour to get the really nice one.
Then it better be a good
I can
movie worth
relate.
seeing.
Like my local theater shut down to like earlier this year. And it sucked because it was very convenient because it was in walking distance. It was a smaller theater, and so it is sucks because they charge you an arm and a leg at AMC.
Yeah, it's like the matinees were like $5 or $6, which were great, like a Tuesday matinee, and I got the nobody was trying to really go for it, but I got the claptrap popcorn bucket, but now it's a lot of effort.
I'm kind of fortunate that I have one that's like a half hour away, but then I also have I have two theaters within about a half hour distance of me, so I have a couple of options still, and they're not just the same chain.
Okay.
I have the fortunate of being 10 minutes away from one. Nice. And that's all I'm really going to say without causing any issues.
Well, I mean, it's one of those things where if they have like that might be the kind of place that for you that might be optimal to get one of those like monthly membership things where they like you can get like a number of tickets a month to be able to go watch whatever. And plus, if they do the throwback films, you can catch those on easily.
I will say Vince Wilmack points out something that a lot of people have been talking about, pro and culture, and everybody is the fact that Sonic has beat out Mufasa domestically, blown it out of the water, and they're just they're gonna do worldwide release Wednesday, which is gonna Disney's gonna have that 2 seconds of like, hey, look what we did, and then bam.
Yeah, did you see their threads for the Lion King were getting like massively trolled on by the Sonic fans?
See, I didn't see that.
No. Oh yeah, and they got community noted and everything.
Oh yeah,
I heard about.
They were trying
to. That was hilarious. I saw that. I read the community notes, and I'm just like, Disney, sit down. You just lost this. And Moana 2 got dethroned as well. So only
it's been out for a couple of weeks, so that's
and I only bring that up once again to be like what they've been doing with this Sonic movie franchise, and they're only on their third one, is they've been building from the ground up, just Sonic, just people with Robotnik, and then they've just slowly expanded or created and given the fans what they wanted and connected, like you said, the video games to this screen and all this throwback in games that I haven't played, but obviously you guys are saying they're really hitting the spot.
Yeah, and with how this one ended with the mid-credit scenes, they have an opportunity to do like entirely different things for their next line of movies.
Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah, because there's a lot of the other games they could always touch on there. Because you got like the Sega CD stuff that kind of keep that. Yeah, we can always see more from. We've got stuff from the original Sonic Adventure that could be kind of grabbed from. We have a lot of classic characters that could be picked up on. But with all that said, there was one other little Sega story that popped up in the last day or so, and I don't know if you guys had heard about this or not. The story goes that, as it turns out, Sega is thinking about kind of going back into a little bit more of the console stuff. Well, the modern equivalent there with their own subscription service.
Yeah, I heard about the subscription service. I think it's a bad idea. We're flooded with subscription services right now.
It's an open bag because on the one hand it could be successful, on the other hand it could flop. Just ask CNN Plus, and but this is Sega. I hope they're really we're thinking about it. Give it a few years, maybe not, depending. Because if they're thinking about it, then it's one thing. But if they're really like pushing forward with it, then it's like, yeah, I'd turn back if I were them, because they have a steady stream going with the with now the Sonic trilogy and everything. But you never know.
Okay, so can you tell me a little? Can you tell us a little bit more about what exactly this means, or what they're proposing in this? Is it like game subscription service, or
So, so this article is coming from Nintendo Life. This is was
okay?
posted Saturday, so this has been around a little bit, but we don't exactly have a ton to go on. It's just kind of more so being built off of like sort of a hearsay, comment that was thrown out. Sega's Western bosses reveal the company is internally discussing the idea of creating its own subscription-based game service.
Okay.
Speaking to the BBC about subscription services such as Xbox's Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, Shuji Utsumi said that such services are, quote, very interesting, and that Sega is currently evaluating some opportunities.
So
he added, "We're thinking of something and discussing something. We cannot disclose right now." So that tells us nothing, unfortunately. Now, this could mean that they could be trying to, weigh into perhaps licensing out their games to these other services to use in their existing services for a fee.
Yeah, which would make them money.
Let's see. Given their history, it makes sense for Sega to invest in a subscription model. Mind you, they did. This isn't exactly the first time they did it. They did this back in the 90s with back in Japan.
Yeah,
Okay.
they did. They did do it back in Japan. They did back in the late 90s. And with that being said, I mean, it doesn't hurt to make money somehow. It's not the issue. The problem is we've seen what's happened with Xbox Game Pass and everything, and the price jack up. Because Dash, you know what I'm talking about. Remember when they're coming out with all those editions and everything, and apparently there was one on the subscription base that was like 14 something. That is what worries me.
Oh,
right
you mean
there.
that was the Ubisoft thing? Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
The
worried.
Outlaws expansions were ridiculously overpriced.
That's what worries me. That's what worries me if they do go this route. That's what would worry me.
A couple of games have just sort of gotten delisted in recent years, which I think is sort of
Sega's
might more coincidental timing, but you combine that with this going on, and they sort of it's kind of getting some people to maybe be linking some things that haven't quite happened yet, but you never know where this thing's going.
But to that note, you talk about the delistings. One of the games they recently delisted was a big collection of like 50 plus Sega Genesis games called the Sega
Genesis Collection.
Yeah, I have that on Switch.
Okay.
It's very good. Like, it's got like tons and tons of games. Like you probably won't even play them all. I used it mostly to play Shining Forces and Alien Soldier. I love Alien Soldier.
Okay. Okay, so here's a thought. Now, you said this was removed from what, Nintendo's servers?
Everyone, like, it was on multiple platforms, so
okay,
they listed it everywhere.
Okay, so basically they've created the void of the Sonic games, or some of these, so they could come back on their own, like you said. And if it was, I don't know how you do multiple platforms or Steam or something. But like, I agree. If they're licensing it, that would be one thing. But if they're trying to get their own proprietary service and have to host it, that's going to take a lot more work. And most companies that try to do that, it doesn't. Like even Nintendo, like even the stuff they've been doing in what they've been hosting is hit or miss, and things that I shouldn't have an issue connecting with because of certain technological issues. It doesn't acknowledge or let it be, but I can connect to so many other things. Yeah, physical media.
Yep. And that game is a fantastic collection. So if you're able to buy it when you could, it's a ton of fun. The only downside is I don't think you can get the Sonic 3 because of the Michael Jackson music.
Oh yeah. But I do have Sonic 3 on my Xbox One, the 360 versions, and that has the Michael Jackson music. It's been delisted though, but I do have it.
Hard to believe that the king of pop himself liked video games, especially Sonic.
Oh, games were like really big, like when Michael Jackson was like
the
popular
90s?
games.
I would be if Michael Jackson came into the studio. It's like, excuse me, I heard you guys are making a game. I like to contribute here. I'd be giddy as all hell.
I mean, Michael Jackson got his own video game on Sega.
Wasn't Michael Jackson? He was kind of like a big kid the entire time. So I mean, video games, especially in the 90s, like he was fun loving. I'm not trying to go that route. I'm just saying he had this childlike wonder till the end, I think, and he had this imagination. So it wouldn't be far pressed for me to think that he would be big on video games or that kind of creative, fun, perpetuating childhood sort of space.
So real quick, just to kind of finish off this the Sega topic here, I just want to kind of do a little quick rundown of a lot of the franchises that Sega owns or has acquired. So just the library of games that would be at their beck and call for a potential streaming service. Of course, Sonic is the obvious one. Puyo Puyo. We've got the Yakuza, Virtual Fighter, Phantasy Star, Sakura Wars is a pretty popular one. The two of the biggest ones I have, Shin Megami Tensei and Persona. And that's before you even start getting to all the back catalog of Genesis titles. Like we talked Alex Kidd and Shining Force and Alien Syndrome. I'm still kind of scrolling down. Streets of Rage, Toe Jam and Earl, Decap Attack. There's a lot that they could leverage into some new into making new games to try to entice people in. But with all that said, it can be an interesting one to track and follow. I don't know if people would be willing to pay for it because they got to compete with Xbox Live.
Yeah.
They'd have to be really, really into Sega.
Yeah. And I'm sorry, but that day is long since gone. It's been 20 years since they were the Sega of old.
Because 20 years ago it would have made sense, but given that Sony and Microsoft beat them to the punch first, it's like that and Nintendo, and of course Nintendo as well, the big three conglomerates. Sega got the door slammed shut.
The way the big three have been handling subscription services for gaming is that they tie them to their online pay services for multiplayer as a premium. That's how they've been doing. Game Pass is just a premium to gold.
With Nintendo, I fully understand the why, because Nintendo has some interesting games. You could say the same with Sony and Microsoft, because there's few and far between. But I do get your point, Dash. I do get it. But remember, we're single player. Well, I play single player games from time to time as well. So with that subscription service, it's like, where do you go from there?
Well, if you do go through it, you money, and then you just add games. So Nintendo's been slow rolling their back catalog onto Nintendo Switch Online, which I think will continue, which will hopefully continue into their new console.
Switch
so I am currently not very happy with Nintendo, because I hear they've been starting to get very, very stingy with the eShop.
It is really hard to just. I mean, yes, it's only $20 for the year to have the basic, and you get access to a bunch of like just the basic stuff. But now that I'm paying for that service, like I have higher expectations for what I want out of it.
Yeah. So they've recently tried to add music to the bit thing, so now you can like listen to a bunch of Nintendo songs on through their app.
But like the problem is, there's better YouTube channels that do that, and they'll throw in me mixes of other game soundtracks.
Oh, that's why they've been doing a lot of takedowns of those musics.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they love abusing that shit.
They love firing those cannons off, Dash. They love firing the cannons.
Well, it's one thing if they have. I mean, Nintendo's bad about that, but if there's no compete, if they're not doing it, it's one thing. But as soon as they start saying, "Oh, we have a paywall," now you're hurting our paywall.
Then they have a little legal ground. But they started doing the takedowns before the service even launched, and before they even announced it.
I know. Like I said, I know Nintendo's bad about their proprietary stuff.
With all that said, I have one more topic at least one more story I wanted to touch on before things get too late here. And I don't know about you guys. I don't really have anything I've got going on tonight after this, so I'm probably gonna settle in, maybe play some more games. But maybe catch some anime. But with that said, though, there is a little bit of anime news coming up that I wanted to share with you guys, and it's sort of right in our ballpark of topics we talk about over here. I mentioned to you before we started, Dash, a Power Rangers anime coming out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And this is one of the series that has coming out right in January. So it's not too far away. This is for an upcoming series called "The Red Ranger Becomes an Adventurer in Another World."
Oh, I read about this in on one of the Nightcast episodes. I touched on this briefly. I meant to do a full segment on that one, but yes, go ahead.
Yeah, this is one that I think we're gonna have to be touching on at the very least, right when it starts, to kind of give a little overview. But this is, like I said, this is one of the top anime that I'm looking forward to next year. And we've got a little bit more details about the show as it's coming out. This is based on a manga that's been out for a while, and we have some teaser trailers and some visuals around the series that are out so we can kind of get a little sneak peek of what to be looking forward to. So just to kind of show off one or two of these elements here, we've got our sort of key visual poster.
Mm-hmm.
And right away, I'm already loving what I'm seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it, like you said, it kind of looks like a little bit like Konosuba meets, I don't know, but the redhead without his mask on, he reminds me of when Bill Divers showed up, the very first Meta Gundam, and there was that redhead kid from, I think, Reiji or whatever, comes from the other world. He reminds me of that sort of like isekai, even his hairstyle and just facial expressions kind of reminds me of that sort of kid. So it looks like it's going to be a lot of fun.
And also, I don't know if they planned this or not, but it's kind of coincidental that the next Sentai, suit designs have a little bit of a reminiscent, familiar design to it.
Mm-hmm.
But
it looks good. It looks good because you were right. It does look like Konosuba meets the Super Sentai, but I'm curious as to how this is gonna go. I mean, oh yeah, this is yes indeed. Yes, I like what I see. Yes, indeed.
Oh,
yeah,
you
my,
talk.
my translate's derailing by the minute. I like this.
Based on the manga by Koyoshi Nakayoshi, Keichiro Kawaguchi. I am trying here.
Oh, trust me, I struggle with the names. You should see me on Nightcaps. I struggle so badly on the bigger ones.
Kichiro directs the Red Ranger becomes an adventurer in another world anime at Studio Statelight, which with serious compositions by Atsuchiro Tomo. I made the mistake of reading this. But as you see, we have a full rundown of the cast here, which I'm happy to see, although I can't pronounce half these names. But we do also have a trailer for this. There we go. We'll just come over here. And yes, this is unrelated, but Be My Honey is one of my favorite songs out of Final Fantasy right now. One of the new raid themes. And yes, we have subtitles on for this. Let me just kind of try to keep volume down to see if we can't skirt around any copyright.
今回の冒険者も外れね。
仕方ありません、イドラお嬢様。
そうね。中止しましょう。
本日はもう一人冒険者を呼んでおりますが、期待の新人だとか。
Okay. There's already mecha in there. The Zords things.
Well, yeah. I mean, you figure what good is having the Red Ranger if he doesn't bring his Zord along?
It's true. I mean,
So is this based off the American Red Ranger or the Japanese Red Ranger?
Well, it's more so
the idea.
The idea
of a red hero, the red leader of a Sentai team getting isekai'd to a fantasy world.
Ah, yeah. I
mean,
see.
it's just well, by this, how many decade-old entrenched trope?
Exactly. I mean, the whole idea of Super Sentai as a whole has been around since the early 70s, and they've now gone through 50 teams of that. Plus
Right.
The cultural footprint where that's inspired so many other dozens, hundreds of imitators.
Yeah. And then wasn't there an anime something Romance at the End of the World where the guy was kind of like a ranger style?
Oh yeah, just that idea of the Sentai team has been around for so long. Series like Gotcha Man.
Yeah, so it's been riddled in anime too. It's just it's fun how sometimes these, we've talked about this before, but somehow it's fun how these tropes develop. Sometimes they're a big miss, but the concept and the kind of even the misdirect inspires something really good the next season or two, right?
Yep. Let's see. Vince asks, have you read the comic on how Tommy got to be the White Ranger? Was this one of the ones that Skybound? Not Skybound. Was this from this last run of comics, or was this an older one? I'm not sure. You'll have to clarify that for me, but let's get back into this.
まさかあれが
例の冒険者です。
伴奏プレートセット変な腕輪はというか何なのあのやけに切れ
I love the Why is he making these weird movements? Look, come on. It's just law. You have to strike a pose as you transform.
Yes.
No, they were voguing before Vogue.
I mean, you said it.
なる謎の動きは燃え盛る熱き友情の戦士
According to Passionate Friendship Warrior.
俺は冒険者の朝垣トガ
Nani?
気軽にレッドって呼んで
He looks like a great shonen protagonist.
Oh yeah, he's got the appropriately spiky hair for it.
He's got the explosions after every move he does, just for no good reason.
He's burning with passion.
Yeah. Passion, friendship, right?
Oh no, why are we
buffing?
No.
Darn you, YouTube.
気軽にレッドって呼んでくれ私はイドラ・アーボルいろんな意味で心臓に悪いわねこの男はヘルティナ・リズ・ワーグレイ・アバルロストと申しますテルテラ様を呼び捨てに
I love his look already.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sword.
it's the guy that doesn't on the team that they don't get along with the protagonist.
Oh yeah.
Wait a minute. Dash, is that you?
No, not ears aren't fluffy enough.
Oh, all right.
This guy's like, I've been here for years. My sword's bigger.
But he
You don't
does-
have rights.
Does look edgy though.
Yeah, that's an edgy lord.
But he's not an edgy McEdgy like Shadow.
Oh, that's true.
Oh, come on. I don't know why it does this when I screen share. There we go. Is it? Sorry, video sometimes doesn't load for me properly.
It was trying to run, yeah.
次から次へと理解不能なものを増やさないで。俺たちの絆なら
Oh, he's got a gun.
未来つかみ取れるさ。
With the power of my gun, I will save the day.
No, isekais just get more and more wild.
Yeah,
Amazing.
this is now this is officially on my watch have to watch list.
So you want to know what anime I'm really looking forward to is have any of you guys heard of Uberblatt?
No.
Who?
Yeah, it's a dark fantasy manga like Berserk, and it's finally getting an anime. It started in like 2004, ended, and now it's finally getting an anime adaptation.
Nice. When's it supposed to release?
It's sometime early in the winter, I think. It's going to be a winter release. I don't know what platform's getting it, but if it's Crunchy, I'm going to be sailing the high seas for it for sure.
Fair enough.
Well, then I think you'll be sailing the high seas you'll be sailing with Luffy to watch this Red Ranger series because this is going to be on Crunchyroll.
Damn.
But I was reminded of another meme I remember from sort of the realm of tokusatsu.
Oh, it's a revolver. Imagine if they had that in like Power Rangers. Like, just pulls out a revolver.
Sounds like Indiana Jones. I brought this to a whip fight. What?
Yeah. No.
Knife fight.
By the way, Kuga is a fantastic series, one that I would recommend, and is available on Tubi. So anyone out there can check it out. But with all that said, I don't know about you guys, but I think I'm going to be checking out the Red Ranger and Another World. It's on my radar. It's at the top of my list. I can't wait to check this one out. I may even watch it on Crunchyroll. What about you guys? Just to go around real quick.
It looks like really cool. Like there's so many other isekai I have to catch up on though, but this one does look like a very good isekai comedy.
And plus, it is kind of nice to have a current anime to be watching sort of with everyone else. As fun as it is to go back and watch through some old stuff. Like, for example, I just finally got around to finishing Evangelion.
Yeah. Well, now you need something uplifting and fun.
Exactly.
Which I mean, I'll piggyback off that. Is that I always want something fun and just kind of there's a good enough story and there's good enough plot because even what I said on Brand the Anime channel like almost a year ago about the jiggle physics and things like that of like if it has a good story and it has a good plot, there's certain shows that have a fun aesthetic that just they don't land, they don't go anywhere. But if it's like Gurren Lagann for an older series, but the current series that I'm really loving and finally I'm catching back up on, and I need to watch yesterday's release is Shangri-La Frontier. Right? I watched season 1 like as it came out this year. There's been some stuff up where I'll skip a couple weeks and then binge 2 or 3 so I can get through certain story arcs kind of in one setting. But there's just so much of each episode develops, and there's a lot of fun, and it's just really well done. The artwork is good. The storyline keeps going. It doesn't just stall out. It doesn't keep repeating the same trope every other episode. Even the sort of instances that take 2 episodes to get through, there's development in them. It's not the shonen recap. So like this Red Ranger looks like it could fill that same sort of fun, entertaining, going somewhere spot.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think this could be one to kind of fill one of those niches for the season. Amine, what about you? What do you think about this?
It genuinely looks funny. I like how it's really good. It's presented itself well. If I may add, there is also another anime I am really looking forward to that finally it's getting its due. Sakamoto Days. It's finally happening. It's getting its anime in next year. When I saw it, I'm like, oh my god. I saw the trailer. Unfortunately, YouTube in their infinite copyright wisdom hit me with that. They threw the book at my face and were like, how dare you show the trailer and all that. But it looked really good. I forget what studio is doing it, but I'm very, very excited. However, back to the topic at hand, I'm excited for this one because it's nice to see like something zany, over the top a little bit, like the isekai. I'm glad they're trying something a bit different to where it's like, hey, why haven't we done the Power Rangers spoof? Let's just grab one of the Power Rangers and pull them into the isekai world.
Yeah,
it could work.
It sort of seems inevitable that we were going to get the isekai genre, brought into the other eternal trope meme of, a colored, spandex, toku team.
I'm just glad I'm glad they're smart enough to just take one person rather than all 5 of them and make it generally confusing, because that's a lot of characters to follow. I like following a character one at a time here. I'm like, okay, I know who that is. I like you. Because that's how I am with anime. I like it when the characters are slowly introduced and not all at once, because it's so hard to keep track of who is who and who's doing what.
Well, just to give a little bit of a pushback with for example, your the Super Sentai, for example, that tends to be a 50 episode series, and over the course you're gonna have episodes that'll focus on this character or that character. So yeah, you're basically thrown into the deep end with a bit of a bigger cast of characters, but you have enough episodes to give everyone plenty of screen time to make themselves stand out and be memorable.
Oh yeah, I agree. I wholeheartedly agree with that point. But when you do it all in one episode, though, it's like, okay, I know who you guys are, but there's so much going on here.
Well, right, but again, there's sort of a difference there between episode counts, where a longer running series you can get away with throwing a lot more at the audience because they know there's gonna be able to have time to pay off different elements.
That they do.
So with that, with all that said and done out of the way, that's basically our primary news for the week. And I don't know, we got a little bit of time. Again, I don't have anywhere to go. Sort of with the holidays in mind, what's on your guys' schedules for the holiday season? Any going away plans? Anything you want to get to and watch? Maybe you got to take advantage of some time off.
I'm hopefully gonna watch after everyone leaves for the Christmas Eve party. I'm hoping to watch Red One with my family at some point. I hopefully would get around to that. And other than that, it's just like church, party, dinner, tree, and then just Christmas morning, and then I think we go to my grandma's.
The fun joys of going to grandma's for Christmas.
Yeah,
the fun joy. Well, with me, I'm probably gonna be streaming pretty soon. I'm debating because I'm off tomorrow, so I'm debating if I want to continue Scarface tonight or switch it up and do a 13 or do a 12-hour game stream again. But it's up in the air. But given the positivity I've had today, I'm like, you know what? I have something in mind for tomorrow. Though it's up in the air. Wednesday, I gotta go. Yeah, Wednesday. I go in Christmas Day for work and everything because that's the trade off I had with my boss. He gave me Thanksgiving off, but he said, "Well, since I'm giving you
Christmas.
Thanksgiving off, I'll
And
have you
that's-
work Christmas Day." But I counter offered him. I'm like, "Can I at least have the morning shift?" And he said yes. So now it's official, working
Uh,
Christmas morning. So I should be back in time for something. But you gotta flip the script somehow with these people. You gotta flip it.
Well, yeah, I mean, when working retail, the whole it's kind of fun, and then I know most of the other jobs, if you have a chance to get off or extra around, it's either Thanksgiving or Christmas, and this year it's one, next year it's the other. It's kind of definitely the way it's always been. But we're because of scheduling, we can't get out too much, like I said, but we're gonna go see some family nearby and at least have hopefully about a 24-hour span of Yule time pleasantries and good food. So
As for myself, I'm planning to kind of keep things chill. Probably go out to my mom's tomorrow and stay the night out there with them. Do the Christmas Eve gift exchange, and who knows? I'll probably be back in time to. Maybe we'll do some random streams here or there. But I'm kind of feeling an urge to go play some more Advance Wars. Maybe go hop into FF14 and finish getting my new mount Bardings.
Ooh, Advance Wars. You playing the remaster or emulating some of the other?
Oh, we are playing Advance Wars Dual Strike. In my opinion, the best one.
Ooh, nice.
Mm-hmm.
Which apparently I found out is a bit of an unpopular opinion, but what can I say? I adore the customization to it, which takes the COs and gives you a lot more ability to kind of vary up and control how effective some of the abilities.
Yeah, I had Days of Ruin. I got pretty far in it. I got like towards the end of the game. It got too difficult, but I got through most of the story.
I did. The big thing that drew me off to it was the fact that it was like I had basically grown up with all the other COs that when they did this complete reset to it all, it just turned me off to it.
Yeah, it's like they did this whole apocalypse story.
I'm like, what about Andy? What about, Grit and, Sammy and all these beloved COs that have been around that I've been a big fan of?
Well, it was the last game, so it was kind of unpopular. I know it is like unpopular, and I knew there were like other games prior, but for me, like Advance Wars to me is just all about the strategy and the colors. Intelligent Systems is like one of the best teams Nintendo has, which is why I was so pissed about Fire Emblem Engaged.
Yeah, and it's kind of a shame that like Fire Emblem's blown up when Advance Wars has kind of been forgotten about when Advance Wars kind of started this whole thing in the first place.
Yeah, I think it even came first.
Yep, back in the days of the Famicom Wars.
Yeah.
It's a shame, but guys, I think with that, I think it's time for us to be getting on out of here. So, guys, the links to everyone should be down here in the description. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas,
guys. Merry Christmas. Also, Dash and Iron, enjoy your gifts because go have fun, please.
I'll check them out.
I did a few gift shopping last night for some other people as well who have really deserved it, and I'm like, you know what? Where's Iron? Where's Dash? I need to get them something to just show my appreciation. So hopefully, luckily though, thank God for the winter sale though. Thank God. I'm like,
I have a cart filled out, just waiting to see if anyone gets me some Steam gift cards before I go to crazy.
Gabe is so mean to us. He's always like giving sales that takes my money away.
I know the memes are real. The memes are real.
Well, it did take away your money this time because this guy here, it saved the day for once.
I love like all the Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones parodies of the Steam sales. It's just those are great.
You know, there's this one new one that I was kind of looking at. It's like almost like a tavern keeper, like survival, like co-op thing that I might check out. But with all that said, though, let's I'm gonna roll on out of here. Vince, thank you for dropping all links down in the chat. I appreciate you so much for that. You are one of the engines that keeps this big robot turning. And until next time, guys, be good to yourselves. Be true. Merry Christmas, and we'll see you before the year ends. So let's get on out of here with a little bit of silliness.